I don't know why everybody acting all surprised. I've been telling y'all Maurice is just the same as Marcel. He's just packaged different. Let's talk about it though.
Oh yes, bitches and hoes. I'm back.
I drop a player like it's nothing, it ain't working out. Now no debate up for discussion, bitch, I'm walking out. My time is money, I ain't loving, let you toast it out. Flip my weave and walk it out. Look how I just bossed it out. Now come on, baby, why you bugging? We can't talk it out. I keeps it moving, I ain't tripping, lost another spouse. I'm just a boss, it's in my blood, no, I won't scream or shout. Grabbing my keys.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo back with a review, and we talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville season 6 episode. I forgot, but it'll be right down there in the doggone description, girl. But listen, I went on Twitter before I watched the episode, and everybody was all up in the uproar talking about Maurice. They couldn't believe this, they couldn't believe that. Why? I've been telling y'all they are the same people. Him and Marcel, they're the same male identified man first, woman in the kitchen, barefoot, pregnant. I've been telling y'all that all this time, but none of y'all wanted to believe me because see, Maurice just packaged different. You know what I'm saying? He don't come off as vocal and as loud as Marcel, but they the same people. I mean, I've been telling y'all that, but we'll get to it. Let's get into the episode, child. So the episode opens up where we left off. Stormi is over there telling her Aunt Lisa that she want her in her life and she just want her and her mama to stop all of that BS and have them talk. Now, Miss Betty is standing there looking like the doggone Incredible Hulk. I don't know. Miss Betty just give me bad vibes, y'all. I've been saying it. Something about Miss Betty just don't sit right in my spirit. But Stormi is over there conflicted. She said she want them to be together. She's the only child. That's all she knows, her mom and her aunt. And Aunt Lisa just walked away because Aunt Lisa feels like you're not holding your mama accountable, and she's not. It's the same Candy, Mama Joyce type of situation. She's not. But nevertheless, once Lisa walk away, she talked to her mom and was like, Mama, you need to just really, go talk to your sister. Go give her a hug. And her mama said, hell no. She said, and how I'ma give her a hug? And she walking away. Miss Betty is giving me, I don't know, like everything bad. That's what Miss Betty is giving to me. And I don't like that. Yeah, Stormi, you need to check your mama. And that's just that. That's just that. You don't check your mama, and that's why she act the way she act. But Courtney is going to say something very profound later on in the episode that we're going to touch on. But, it kind of explains why Miss Betty act the way she act. But we'll get to that. Let's move on. Okay, so now Marcel goes to therapy. Finally, we see a black man in therapy by himself. Oh, Lord, thank you. Won't he do it? Anyway, Marcel goes to therapy. He feels like he's going because the judge has the kids going. So why not him go, himself, whatever. So then, okay, they get to talking and they're talking about him coping with stressors and things that, he's got to deal with. He's mad that his mama didn't want to watch the kids. He feel like, if you say you're going to do something, you're supposed to do it. So him and the mama apparently got into it or whatever because he felt like she reneged on her deal with him. And he has stress moments about that. Marcel don't like people saying they gonna do something and don't do it. Child, you said you was gonna love for better or for worse and through sickness and health to do y'all part, but here we are. That's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, the therapist basically says that he has unhealthy relationships and that he needs to, work on that. And how does he cope with that? She asked a very good question. Where is your daddy? Marcel, where is your daddy? Because, a lot of these ways that these young men, these men today in 2023 have is really because of the absence of a father. You know what I'm saying? So she asked him where his daddy was. And he said he'd been in Huntsville or whatever, but he was incarcerated most of his life. And he just started like dealing with his daddy recently. And he hadn't seen his daddy or talked to his daddy in over a year. And I'm just saying, well, now we understand why you don't know a lot of things as far as being a man. You can't teach what you don't know. I get it, Marcel. You're doing your best. But at the end of the day, your father wasn't there, which is why you are where you are today. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it sucks for Marcel having a father that has been incarcerated. I can't relate. My father has been in my life my whole life, still married to my mama, neither here nor there. But my heart do really go out to people who grew up without one of their parents, or sometimes both, because it's kind of like you have to navigate through life figuring it out. Every step is just figuring it out. So I felt bad for him in that sense. But at the end of the day, when the therapist asked him, is that the reason why you think you have the issues that you have? He says no, he don't want to use his dad's absence as a cop-out. And it's not about a cop-out. It's just reality. Children need both of their parents. And you know that because you in your kid's life. Children need both of their parents. So don't feel like it's a cop-out. Just acknowledge it and try to work on it and move forward. But anyway, he talks about him having a little brother, and I'm like, oh, so he's not the only child, which I never thought he was. But I think it was cool that he brought his brother up, saying how he basically want to, be more involved in his brother's life. Shout out to Martell for that. You need a mentor too, Martell. While you trying to mentor your little bro, you need a mentor as well. Just saying. Anyway, let's move on. So now we move to the next scene. Kimmy and Maurice decides to do a date night. They're gonna meet Natisha and Marcel at the date night. And but before they get there, they having a conversation about Monster, basically. And Maurice basically brings up the fact that he feel like cleaning and cooking is Kimmy's job. That's not his job, that's Kimmy's job. You know what I'm saying? He said that, as a woman, that's what she's supposed to be doing. Remember I told y'all the barefoot pregnant cleaning, that so-called what do they call it, traditional man, in the household. That's what he feel like Kimmy should be doing, just cleaning up, no help from him or Monster. He just need to, or she just need to clean up for that matter. Now she feels like if he sees, or if Monster sees him helping her clean up, then maybe Monster would clean up. But Maurice don't feel like that. Maurice is one of the men's, and I told y'all that. Y'all didn't want to hear it. I told y'all Maurice was the same way as Marcel. They come up off that old school traditional Southern man supposed to do this and the woman supposed to do that, and it's just tiring. But I told y'all, I know the signs because I'm from Louisiana. I'm from New Orleans. My dad is one of them type of people. And you know what's crazy? It worked in my household because my mama wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and cook and clean. So in certain situations, it works. But in modern times, typically, especially when the wife has to work too, because let's not conflate the two situations. Because let me tell you something. My mama didn't work nowhere. My mama didn't lift a finger when it came to work. You know what I mean? My daddy made 100% of the household proceeds, right? So it gave my mama time to rest in her femininity and nurse and deal with the kids. You know what I'm saying? But in these situations in 2023, that's not the situation. These women have to work just as hard as these men have to work, and they want the same doggone thing. Let me tell y'all something, because I'm watching Love and Marriage Detroit, and that's going to be my next review. Love and Marriage Detroit. Y'all want the same things y'all parents, or some of y'all ain't even have it with y'all parents. That'd be the gag. Some of y'all ain't even had it with y'all parents, but y'all trying to get this so-called traditional household, but y'all don't want to really be traditional. Let's talk about it. But we'll get there. Let's move on. So Natisha and Marcel pulls up, and Maurice decides to tell them that Kimmy don't feel comfortable punishing Monster. And Kimmy was like, that's not true. I never told you that. I just feel like you don't help me. You don't back me. You don't reinforce the things that I say. You know what I'm saying? But, at the end of the day, Maurice is going to say and do whatever he wants to say and do, because that's the dynamic of their marriage. I get it. Kimmy is a strong, intelligent, very articulate woman. Honestly, I didn't see her even being married to somebody like Maurice. Kimmy is a very articulate and well-spoken woman. So the fact that she's with this old school sort of kind of dude is just, I just didn't see it. But, love is love. You know what I mean? So Kimmy basically says, hey, look, I do punish Monster. Actually, I told him to rake the leaves, but Maurice wouldn't back me up. You know what I'm saying? And Maurice feels like he shouldn't have to back her up. He feels like, if you say something, that should just be that. And I'm looking like Tisha looking. Are you crazy? What you mean you shouldn't have to back her up? Yes, you should. If she says something, because remember, she's not his biological parent. If she says Monster need to do something and Monster don't do it, it is your place, even if she was the biological parent. Because see, this is what I say and what I mean when I say y'all don't know what real tradition is. Let me tell you something. Anything my mama said to do, for the most part, we did. But if in any event she said something had to be done and one of us didn't jump right to it at the moment, my daddy was right behind her reinforcing whatever she said. That's tradition. See, that's what I'm saying. These modern men today want that so-called tradition, but don't know what tradition is. Maurice, you forgot? Y'all told us your daddy divorced your mama long when y'all were kids. What you know about tradition? That's the problem. That right there is the problem. All the men running around hollering, I want this traditional family. I want this traditional woman. Modern women. Whoop de whoop de whoop. Don't know what it is because y'all ain't never had it. Let's talk about it. Because it's just bothering me to the fullest, because it's just like y'all don't know exactly what it looks like. Y'all have not had that in y'all lives, but this is what y'all running around promoting and asking these women to do. And foolishly, women with the love of men or for the love of men will just do it and don't even realize they're getting played. Ain't no way I'm supposed to be making all this money. I gotta be traditional and clean and all of this. You crazy? We gonna share the responsibility, because unless you are able to 100% provide, protect 100%, not 90%, not 80%, not 50%, not 30%. Unless you are willing and ready to 100% provide and protect, and protection also comes in many forms, which means if I say do something to the kids, you back there reinforcing it, because that's your way of protecting me and what I'm saying to do. And it's also telling the child that authority will be had in the household. But see, Maurice don't know nothing about that because his daddy wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? It just drives me crazy because I just don't understand. But anyway, girl, Kimmy basically just says that she just acquiesced to whatever Monster had going on. And in my mind, I'm saying, girl, please. See, that's why I can't. That's why I can't. But Tisha says that she needs to communicate more with Kaya, or maybe they can foster a better relationship with, with Monster and Kaya and everything. And Kimmy just feels like, it's not that that's the issue, because that's not the issue. She was like, she was there, making a relationship happen at the end of the day. But, you just can't put it all on me. Now, Marcel did say something that was very profound. He said, listen, when y'all have this next meeting, Maurice, you can't leave the meeting like you did last time. And he was absolutely right. Maurice don't like hearing nobody tell him when he wrong, but he was absolutely right. My heart goes out with you, Kimmy, but that's your man. That's the one you chose. That's the one you put your vows in. So it is what it is. Let's move on. So now Martel goes down there and meet with his little brother Montez. And I said, I think I've heard his mama say something about her having more than one kid, but I didn't know he had a little brother. But apparently Montez been locked up. They won't let him out. Well, they actually did just let him out. He said he been out a year and he married and all of that, or whatever the case may be. He's on parole. So shout out to Lil Montez. But, Montez said he needs some help. He needs some help. And he also lets us know that not only did they not have a daddy in their life, that their mom was barely there. Now, Miss Martell, what's her mama name? What's their mama name? Miss Marlene, I think that's her name or whatever. Where was you at? Why wasn't you there to raise them children? That's why Montez just got out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't there as a mother. Where were you, Miss Marlene, if that's her name? But I'm going to call her Mama Martell. Mama Martell, where was you at? Your baby daddy wasn't there and you wasn't there neither. And you sitting up on this TV acting like you raised your sons to be all of this, that, and the third. And Lil Montez spilled the tea that you wasn't never there. Miss Montez, Miss Marlene, whatever your name is, we got questions. Anyway, so after they said they raised themselves or whatever, Montez tell Martell, look, you made it out, but I didn't. And, I want to find a way to be self-sustainable and be successful like you. Well, Montez, let me give you the tea. Your brother really ain't successful. He was with a good woman that made him successful. However, he does have more tools that he can share and pass down to you. So, Martell, it is your duty to be a father figure since Miss Marlene couldn't find a good man to do so. Okay? So Martell was honest enough to tell him, hey, look, being married is what helped me. And you got a good wife and a good woman in your life. Having a good woman by your side is going to help you basically stay balanced and stay focused. You know what? And I'm tired of that. Black women, why we always got to focus these fools? Why he can't be focused without her? That's why you're scraping and scratching and surviving, Martell, because you ain't got nobody to pop you upside your head when you go left. Mel, I hope you do well. That rhymes, and I didn't mean it for it to rhyme. But Mel, I hope you do well without him. But I hope you don't build no other man. We got to stop building these men in 2023. I'm tired of this. But anyway, they Montez bring up that Mel put a diss track out on him and he laughed and thought it was all cute and it was a key or whatever the case may be. But he said this is his first real relationship. Montez said he just got out on parole. This is his first real relationship. With what happened in jail, that was just jail. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened allegedly, but if it did happen, that wasn't real. This is his first real relationship. Shout out to Montez and to the woman who stood beside him while he went to jail. When did you go to jail for, Montez? I don't know. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, after Montez says basically he needs some help in the motivation department, Martell invited him to the business expo. You know, the Black Business Expo, aka the comeback group. He invited him down there to do some networking, child. Listen, Montez, I wish you nothing but the best. I ain't judging you. Because apparently, according to your words, you ain't had a mammy or a pappy. And Miss Marlene, we the people got questions. We want to know why you wasn't there. Where was you at, Miss Marlene? Anyway, let's move on. So now, girl, we at this meeting with Monster, okay? It's Monster. They got Kaya with them flew in for this meeting. They trying to all get to one resolve to find out what's going on with Monster. Because apparently the boot camp that Maurice allegedly, well, not allegedly, the boot camp that he created wasn't worth a dime. And I knew that from the start of it. But nevertheless, here we are. But anyway, Maurice starts off the meeting by saying, hey, I want everybody to be on the same page and we need to talk about the boot camp. So they talked about the boot camp and Kiowa basically says, well, from the sounds of it, it needs a little tweaking because Kimmy is not getting X, Y, and Z, which would be the smart thing to say, right? But you know, Maurice, he's one of them men. You can't tell him nothing. So she asked him basically, hey, Monster, what y'all do besides getting up at 5 a.m.? And Kimmy said, not much. And I'm just sitting here saying, Kimmy been told Maurice that. But Maurice, listen. It's hard to be a father when you didn't have one yourself. Now, I know Maurice's daddy left the house, divorced the mom or whatever. I don't know what their relationship was like with their daddy. But it seems as if Maurice is trying to do something that he honestly don't know how to do, but have too much pride to say so. That's what it sounds like to me. But anyway, after Kaya said they need to adjust it and he need to get his chores done, and she basically looked at Monster and said, this is on you. Like, you got to make sure your chores get done. Now, Maurice looks at Monster and says Monster don't look like he's receptive to it. And Monster don't even know what the word receptive mean. And I say, Lord, and you the one helping him with his homework? Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so Kimmy basically want to know if Monster had any ideas, and he said he ain't got none. And they look at Maurice. Well, this is the time to be thinking, listen, y'all putting the boy on the spot, number one, and the boy really don't want to be here. There's some underlying issues that he needs to work out either through therapy or either he needs to talk to his mama, because Maurice obviously not talking to him. Maurice feel like being present in his life, like physically, is all he needs to do. And that is the furthest from the truth. And that's why the little boy feel like he can't really say much to Maurice, because there's no communication back and forth. That's just that. Anyway, Kaya will ask him how his grades is doing, and he said they're getting better. She said, well, how can we make them better than getting better? And he said, I don't know. Now, we find out Maurice is supposedly, allegedly, helping him with the homework. That's what Maurice said. Well, if you helping him with the homework and he failing, then both of y'all slow. And we know that ain't to be the case because Maurice just got a law degree. He's a lawyer. He's very intelligent. But again, Maurice thinks being physically present in his son's life is all he needs to do. And that is furthest from the truth. That's why, you know, they have people who raise their kids, who physically be there for their kids, but don't emotionally, mentally, and all the other places be there for their kids. And they feel like they are better parents than the people who send their kids off. And to be completely honest, you're not. You're not. Because just because you are physically there in the house doesn't mean you are parenting. Do you know what I'm saying? So anyway, Maurice wants him to get a sense of urgency, but Kaya feel like she don't want everybody to gang up on him. And it does look like that, but at the end of the day, Monster have to have some responsibility and accountability as well. Kaya asks if he's feeling this way because she's not around, and he said it could be. Well, they say they're gonna go and, you know, talk about it on the side at dinner. Now, Maurice feels like Kaya babies him. Even Kimmy had to tell him that basically he doesn't understand the dynamic between a mother and a son. And I'm going to be honest, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm going to give y'all a little tea of my own. My mom, my mammy, loves the dirty draws on both of my little brothers, and they ain't worth a dime. Do you hear me? However, she'll never tell them nothing negative, but let me say something sideways and she ready to disown me. I don't understand it. It's toxic. The relationship between, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes the relationship between mothers and sons is very toxic, and it's enabling, and it's creating this generation of men who don't give a damn about women. And I said what I said and I stand on it. Nah. That's what I'm seeing. That ain't how I feel. That's what I physically see when I go out into the world. And that's what I physically see when I see women and they grown ass sons and they treating them like babies. It's sickening. It's disgusting. And I don't like it. Okay. Anyway, and that's just me going on my little personal rant. But anyway, Maurice ushers him off to go get his homework done or whatever the case may be, and the three of them have a conversation. So basically, Kaya admits that she does a lot for her baby, but that's her son. You know how women is, black women especially, is with their sons. But Kimmy says they need to make a plan and make it a more effective plan. She said because what we got going on right now ain't working. She says that he needs a middle ground and he needs to be taught to be a man. She said, but you just helping him with his homework and he failing. Again, Maurice does not know what it is to be a father because apparently, allegedly, and obviously, he has not had one. Remember they said the daddy divorced the mama way back in the gap. But even if he was physically there, apparently you don't have the tools. You know, Marcel, let's talk about it. Marcel don't be dealing with them children. You saw little Marcel was ready to get on him when he told his mama you letting him talk to you like that. None of them effectively have the tools to be fathers to their children. They feel like just providing financially is all you need to do. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. And that's why these children don't have no real relationships with their daddy. Y'all got to stop going around feeling like as long as you have a daddy present, that's all that a child needs. That is false. The same with a mother. That is false. You have to be there not only just physically, but in every other aspect that child needs. For disciplinary, for emotional support, for everything, not just financial support. You need to be, parenting is an active, it's not an adjective, it's a verb. It's something that you do. It's not a noun. You know what I mean? And we have to figure that out as parents, because let me tell you, our generation of parents, we are failing our children. I'm counting me in it because I'm in that generation that's growing up these emo kids. We are failing our children. It's evident on TV. It's evident in the news. It's evident in everyday life. We are literally failing our children. Listen, I get it. We all got the same struggle, this generation of parents, right? I'm talking about the parents who got teenagers, up 10 and up with them kids. Listen, let me say something. We get it. Our parents was jacked up. They ain't know what the hell they was doing. They was very, very heavily religious and raised us on that. And it made us shun away from them. They was not emotionally present for us. And we feel like, especially financially, financially, they were not present. A lot of them. Not my mama. My daddy took care of us. But I'm just saying that as a generation, financially, our parents were not there for us, right? So what do? Overcompensate with our kids by financial gain. And that's not what them children need. That's why they look good, but they jacked up in the brains. As a parent and as a person of this generation, I'm talking about with parents who have kids who are 10 and up, we are failing our children and they are wiping each other out. Thank God Monster ain't doing that. But what I will say, what I've recognized in Monster is Monster has a lot of emotional damage and he has no outlet. When they asked him who he talked to, he said nobody. That's bad. That's why these children are growing up so messed up. We have to be present parents more than just in the physical. We have to be present in every single aspect of a child's life because we are not raising good kids. We just not. But anyway, Kimmy basically says that Maurice needs to spend more time with Monster. And Maurice feels like picking him up and dropping him off at school is enough. See what I'm saying? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell y'all. We are jacked up. And I get it. It's certain tools we didn't get. You know what I mean? But ultimately, we have to make better decisions. Just like we made the decision to be there for our children financially and dress them in the nicest things and put them in the nicest houses and all that stuff because we didn't have that as growing up. I feel like we need to adjust all these other things as well. Our parents wasn't there for us emotionally. You didn't have a voice. You couldn't say nothing. All of this, that, and the third. We need to be there for our children and show up for them in all aspects. This is not okay. Because he really feel like dropping him off and picking him up is enough. And it's not. But like I said, you're helping him with the homework, but he failing. So apparently you're not helping him with the homework. He holler, well, it ain't every day. So then don't say you do it. Period. Just because you helped him once or twice don't mean it. But Kimmy was like, you need to get more time with him. And he's offended, of course. But Maurice, like I told y'all, is the same as Marcel. Y'all running around here acting like Marcel is just this horrible person. And he is in some aspects. He's a great provider, but he's not a good husband. And allegedly, he's not a good daddy. Say what I said. And Maurice is the exact same thing. They cut from the same cloths. How did y'all miss this? Because Maurice light skinned and he just quiet. I've been peeping these signs from the very beginning. I peeped it from the very beginning when he wanted Kimmy to quit her job as a nurse and stay home. I peeped it when every time you turn around, he want her to cook. He want her to have sex. He want her to clean. He don't want to do nothing but pay the bills. And that's the gag. I don't even know for sure if he paying 100% of the bills because Kimmy makes money too. I seriously doubt he's letting her put all her money in her pocket. I seriously doubt it. But I've been peeping this. I've been picking up on these cues. I grew up in a household like this where my daddy was 100% the provider, but my mama was the housekeeper. And basically she kept the children in the house. However, that was their dynamic that they agreed to. My mama didn't want to work. So my mama didn't pay no bills. To this day, 2023, 40 years later, she still don't pay no bills, but she keeps the house. She cooks, she cleans, she makes sure everything is taken care of around the household. It's different when it's an agreement, but it's a whole other thing when it's just expected because that's just the way you think it should be. Is Maurice a Kevin Samuel like? Is he's one of Samuel Siemens? Somebody in the comments let me know. I'm thinking that's what it's giving. One of the Samuel Siemens. Now I heard he's supposed to be Maurice I'm talking about. He's supposed to be going over there to help that boy Rashid, who then went down there and financially cheated on his fiance. And she done called off the wedding, which I think is a scam. But they say you supposed to be going down there and help him. Lord, save both of them. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, let's get back to this doggone review. But anyway, they go back and forth about it because Kimmy basically says he need more affection from his daddy, and Maurice don't know what that feels like because he ain't never had it. But Kaya would say she noticed that, he's in his feelings by his body language, something that Maurice would never catch because Maurice don't give a damn. All he feel like he got to do is provide the roof. She said he might not feel comfortable talking to you, Maurice, and I don't blame him because, hell, Kimmy don't look like she comfortable talking to Maurice. Quiet as it's kept. Girl, listen, this whole scene drove me, and it drove me even worse for everybody on Twitter to finally get the idea and finally see that Maurice is the same as Marcel. They come from the same tree. They are branches off of the same tree. Do you hear me? Leaves off of the same branch. You understand what I'm saying? Why did y'all think one was different? Why? They the closest too. Why would one of them be different than the other one? Y'all got to ask yourself that. Y'all got to stop letting people cloud y'all judgment just because y'all like them. Anyway, let's move on. So now Stormi and her husband Courtney is driving in the rain coming from somewhere, I don't know. But they're talking about the changes they need to make in the warehouse. Apparently Courtney had to fire, not only did they fire her little cousin, but they fired his best friend. They said that they just not getting what they need to get. Stormi said they was packaging and shipping out 800 shipments by themselves and they don't understand why it's not getting done. Girl, clean the whole house. Do you hear me? Listen, this is the problem. Y'all got to stop hiring y'all family members when y'all get these businesses. Leave your family at the Family Dollar. Do you hear me? Because now y'all looking over there acting crazy. Courtney said he don't give a damn. He'll fire his mom if he had to. I'm with Courtney. But clean the house. If you not getting production, you making money, you spending money, you need to make money. If you not getting production, I clean the whole damn house and start all over. Nah. Ain't crazy. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, she the only one uncomfortable about that. But they get to talking about the Aunt Lisa and Miss Betty. Girl, Miss Betty. I know you wish you never got on this doggone show. But anyway, they get to talking about them. And basically, she feels like, she want them all to get along. She says every time she try to get them together, it's a problem. She wanted to do a family trip, but they don't want to do it because they beefing. She's sick and tired of them beefing and having an issue. Courtney said he feels bad because, he knows that Stormi wants her close family and then she get the crime. Now, Stormi, I understand how you feel. And you know what it reminded me of? My best friend, and I'm just spilling too much tea, but anyway, my best friend, her mama and her sister is like that. Because Courtney said something very key. He said, I believe the issue is you. Everybody is doing a tug of war over you. And let me tell you what we find in black families, especially black families who ain't never had shit. Let's talk. Can we talk? Let's talk about it. Okay. What we find is when you get one child that's successful, whether it's a niece, you see it with Miss Wanda and Tisha and all of them. When you get one person in the family that's very successful, typically everybody fight over vying for their attention, right? So the mama feel like that's my child, I automatically get her. But Lisa feels like, well, girl, I damn near raised the little girl. What you mean? Why is it a problem? You know what I mean? That she is up under me. I believe Miss Betty is jealous that Stormi goes up under her aunt. Because I see it too many times. It happens all the time in real life. My best friend have the same issue. She's very successful. But her mama and her aunt literally to this day still don't speak because her mama feels some type of way that she goes run to her aunt. That's just what it is. And that is so toxic in black families, especially for black women and black sisters. That is so toxic. I hate that for y'all. I hate that for Stormi, and I really hope that she get herself together. You know what I'm saying? Because Stormi feel like they want her to pick a side. Stormi, you ain't got to pick no side. Stay where you at until one of them come around. But this is what I will tell you too, Stormi. You have to check your mama. I'm with Aunt Lisa. You see what your mama doing and you ain't saying nothing. You got to check her because she only have this big personality and this big idea and acting like she this, that, and the third because you don't check her. You have to check her, Stormi. If you don't check her, then somebody else will. And Miss Betty, I was about to say something real negative, but I respect my elders. But Miss Betty, you better tread light. That's all I'm going to say. Stormi, check your mom. And Miss Betty, tread light. That's all I'm going to say. Let's move on. So now Kimmy and Maurice discussed the meeting after Kiowa goes off on a date, not a date, but she took her son to dinner so that they can more discuss some things. Now Kimmy and Maurice discussed what happened in the meeting, and Kimmy feel like Monster moving away from his mama is making him sad. I agree. I think that's exactly what's going on with him. He's over there with this new woman. You know what I'm saying? And it's no shade to Kimmy, but that's not his mama. His daddy barely there. He feel like dropping him off and waking him up at 5 a.m. is enough fathering and parenting. So he probably feels alone on the island. I agree with that, Kimmy. But she said that she suggests that Maurice, Kiowa, and the little boy go to therapy. Now, you know, of course, Maurice has a problem with that. First of all, black men don't like you to tell him to go to therapy, right? But Maurice feels like he want her to go too. And she said, I don't want to overwhelm the boy. Y'all is the real family, the core family unit, right? If y'all get on one page, then we could figure out, you know, me in the equation. But at the end of the day, he needs to be in therapy with his mother, his biological mother, and his father. But Maurice disagrees. You know why? Because he don't want nobody to tell him he need help. That's just what it is. That's how black men are in 2023. That's just what it is. But anyway, like Kimmy said, it's a different energy when it's just his mama and him. You know what I'm saying? Their relationship is their own relationship. And she feels that, you know, they need to get closer and that all y'all need to go to therapy. But, you know, he don't want to hear that. But anyway, he says that Kimmy is over there hopping on therapy, but he don't feel like that they need therapy. And if they do need therapy, all 4 of them need to go. And that's just not the case. But again, you done got this little boy, brought him to your house, and dropped him off. Literally is what you did. Because you run the street, you go to work, you do this, that, and the third. Now, you know, they said, not me, but they said, you be down there at that doggone that office space. Remember last season when it came out that y'all was supposedly doing the boys activity every Friday? Boy, please. You need to be doing the boys activity with your son. Do you hear me? That's what you need to do. But Maurice got life and BS all messed up. That's just what it is. But anyway, she basically said that basically, you know, it might be a lot for Monster to open up. So you might need to put a little bit more one-on-one time with him. You know what I'm saying? He might open up better if it was just y'all two at therapy instead of me all up in the mix, all in the videos. Like, you know, like Suge Knight said about Diddy. You know what I'm saying? But he's insistent on all of them going. He's just insistent. And she said, well, you know, I'm there and I've been there in the past. But the last meeting we had, you left me. You left me there to just discuss with Kiowa. And Maurice goes on to say, well, I had to go to a meeting and you already knew about it. Woo. It don't matter. Your priority wasn't figuring out what's going on with your son. Let's talk about it. Let's call a spade a spade. That wasn't your priority. Period. But he gets mad and says that basically he won't Kimmy to have a meeting one-on-one with Kiowa to discuss they issues. Kimmy said, we ain't got no issues. That was in the past. We moved past that. We ready to move on. But see, that's deflection, Kimmy. That's what that's called, deflection. He's deflecting on you, trying to create an issue that ain't there because you and Kiowa seems like y'all have a nice, you know, cordial relationship, but he's going to create that to get the issue off of him not being there for his son. That's just what it is. Maurice ain't worth 2 nickels rubbed together in the sun. Say what I said. Say what I said. And I don't know how bad that is, but if it is bad, that's what Maurice ain't worth. Do you hear me? But y'all just figuring it out. Girl, go back to my old videos. I've been saying Maurice wasn't worth a dime long time ago. Anyway, while that's happening, Kaya was over there at dinner with Monster, and basically she's asking Monster how he feels. And Monster basically says, you know, I'm just feeling. And she said, do you have anybody to talk to, any outlets? He says, no, I talk to myself. Like I said earlier, that is a problem. That is something that needs very immediate attention by a therapist, period. But she did ask him, she said, well, hey, if I came out here more often, or if we spent more time together more often, would that help? And he lit up. Because he wants his mama. And that's just what it is. He out there living with his daddy. His daddy got the onset and the mindset that, hey, look, yeah, my son need to be with me, but you ain't there, Maurice. You ain't there. He'd rather be up under his mama because you are not present. Say what I said. And that was how the doggone episode ended, girl. Y'all drop down in the comments and let me know what y'all thought. Didn't y'all not see that Maurice wasn't worth a dime? Y'all should have asked me. I would have told y'all. Anyway, leave your comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you hoes later. Bye.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo dog time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.